It's time for a rundown on some of our Alaska stories today, but first, a word from our sponsor, Inland Petro Service, Inc. Remember, if you're an Alaskan business, you know the importance of lighting and signage. I mean, think about it. It is dark here for, 6 months at a time. You need a sign that's lit that people can read. Now, from installation of new signs to maintenance on existing signs, whether LED or neon, from canopies to parking lot lighting, or if you just need to have a banner installed, Inland Petro Service is the way to go. With over 25 years of experience in Fairbanks, they're going to be able to help you with all of your needs. So give them a call, 907-451-1905. That's 907-451-1905, or check out their website online. It's inlandpetroservice.com. So let's take a look at some of our Alaska stories for this Wednesday morning. There is still no Fukushima radiation showing up in Alaska fish, according to the Department of Environmental Conservation. They've been doing testing ever since that nuclear disaster, and they say that they have had no traceable elements. Basically, none of the isotopes that they're looking for have shown up in what they've tested. The Senate GOP here in Alaska has pledged more budget cuts, and they've also released some of their planned legislation for this upcoming session, which includes trying to restore the permanent fund that Governor Walker took last year, also allowing people to take selfies at the ballot place, and a ban on genetically modified organisms, basically fish, no GMO fish. So you can take a look at all those different items that are coming up through the Alaska Dispatch News or the Juneau Empire if you want to run down on some of the specific items on the agenda. The eroding village of Newtok is asking for President Obama to send them funds for relocation before he leaves office. Basically, although the relocation efforts have been underway for some time, they say they don't have the money to actually move. And normally disaster funds are from big, sudden events like hurricanes or floods. And in this case, the slow-moving process of erosion, they're saying, hey, this is a disaster too, send us some FEMA money. Witnesses pulled an unconscious Kodiak teenager from a burning car. He was wearing his seatbelt, so when his car went into the ditch and burst into flame, he couldn't get out because, well, he was unconscious. So the witnesses saw it, pulled him out of the car. He was taken to the hospital. Not sure what his condition is, but he was flown from Kodiak to Anchorage for further treatment. That Anchorage serial rapist that we mentioned earlier in the week has been sentenced to 70 years in prison, basically 90. They were asking for 99. The judge sentenced him to 90 with 20 suspended. If you missed it, thieves in North Pole took the ATM right out of McPeak's. They broke the window and dragged the ATM out. They are looking for a truck in association with that, a newer model, either a Toyota or a Ford. I'm not really sure. I think those are two very different types of trucks, but they're looking for that. So if anybody knows anything, please let the police know. The FBI has taken a dumpster at the Anchorage motel where the accused Fort Lauderdale gunman was staying. Apparently still looking for any kind of evidence. And people are still asking the question, well, if this guy went down to the FBI and said, hey, I'm hearing voices, why was he given his gun back? And there's an article in the Alaska Dispatch News noting the very high bar in Alaska for actually taking guns from the mentally ill. You basically have to be formally committed, which is a long process, before they say you're not allowed to have a gun. In case you missed it, we've talked about it a little bit here. Interior Alaska could have some severe cold next week. I've seen some maps here. They're saying anywhere from 40 below to close to 60 below all the way across the interior. And it's going to rival what they're saying. It's going to rival what happened in 1999 and even the worst one of 1989. Governor Walker is taking on Alaska's oil dependency, which in terms of a headline sounds promising, but he's talking about diversifying the economy, meaning that the way that the state gets its money. So he's talking about an income tax. He's talking about taking the permanent fund. He's talking about increasing the fuel taxes. Also, there was a park official, National Park Service, who apparently said something, not in uniform, not on duty. It was at a private gathering at his house. Nobody there was offended and nobody was sexually harassed, but some kind of supervisory action was taken against this park official because he said something that was of a sexual nature that was not in line with what they expect for park officials. The fish habitats development permits for the state of Alaska haven't been updated for nearly 60 years, and a group called Stand for Salmon has asked the legislature, or has actually asked the Board of Fish to ask the legislature to update those rules. It looks like they have agreed to do so. The Department of Transportation has officially noted that, yes, it is road gravel that they're putting down, not salt, needed for safety. And Senator Murkowski has asked for more time to repeal the Affordable Care Act. Also on Wednesday, today, we are looking at having a nationwide Amber Alert. It's just a test, but it is basically in memory of the girl, Amber, the very first from which the Amber Alert came from. The law on that alert was made because of what happened to her. She was abducted in Texas back in, 25 years ago, something like that. 20 years ago? I think it's 20 years anniversary of the actual Amber Alert. Anyway, that's happening today as well. If you have any suggestions for me, either news tips, by the way, I got that news tip about Mexico. I'm going to be looking into that. Also, if you have any suggestions for me about commentaries, I'd love to hear them. Email me, steve@radiofreespeech.com. If you'd like to become an advertiser like Inland Petro Service, Inc., you can also email me at that. You can also buy a direct subscription there at the website, radiofreespeech.com, or become a sponsor at Patreon. All these things, of course, I'm here for you. You tell me what you'd like me to be focused on, and I will do it for you. I'm Steve Floyd, and this is radiofreespeech.com.